This is greytFM.
Hi, folks. Welcome to another conversation about something new and interesting in the world of HR. This is, of course, greytFM, and I'm Ahalya. Joining the series today is a podcast about a phrase that has been doing the rounds, surprisingly, actually, for a few years now. I didn't know this, but like they say, you find out whole new worlds with a little bit of research. And like many important things in the world of work, it's come under the spotlight over the past year or so and is becoming a real priority for many organizations. So we figured, we'd actually try and take a look at how this fits into the coming year. We've all heard the letters D, E, and I used together for a while now, but how much do we know about DEIB? Well, it turns out that B isn't just the second letter of the alphabet, but the fourth letter of this very intriguing and nuanced concept, which is belonging, right? That's what it stands for. So today's conversation is going to be about, one, breaking down this idea, and second, understanding it and contextualizing it for us. Let's get into it. Please welcome Rahul Kulkarni, CHRO, CTSI South Asia, to help us unpack all of this. Hi, Rahul. How are you doing?
I'm going well. Thank you very much for inviting me for this wonderful, interesting conversation on something which is the most important priority for all of us.
Let's start at the beginning, like with anything, Rahul. It's important to really set these concepts, I think, apart from each other, right? Even just with DEI, I think people often interchange them and use them synonymously, but they are not synonyms. They are, separate things. So could you help us define diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging or belongingness as separate concepts for us?
Definitely. When you look at diversity, it's basically when you look at bringing unique perspective to the workplace. When you look at equity, it's basically making sure that you treat everyone fairly and impartially.
Right.
Then third, when you look at inclusion, I think, you are welcoming all sorts of people, all walks of people into your systems and processes. And when you look at belongingness, I think this is a very, very interesting concept. When, you talked about it, how are you making sure that individuals, employees, associates are connected emotionally, interpersonally at the workplace, even though they come from a different background and perspective. So this is what from a 30,000 view, when you look at it, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness stands for.
I think I'd like to take that a step further as well, because, I am new to this concept and it kind of struck me. Doesn't belongingness sort of come about as a result of DEI being effectively effectively? Why do you think it has to be, explicitly defined? And why it's become a separate priority that needs to be paid attention to?
Very interesting one. I think very interesting question. See, when you bring people, different perspectives, different people to the workplace, if they are not interconnected, okay,
Right.
they don't have interpersonal relationship and affinity, love, and connectedness, then nothing will work. They won't work, and organization will also not prosper. So belongingness is very, very important. When you bring these sorts of people at the workplace, but you don't make them feel as the part of the workplace, then it's of no use. So I think this concept is very, very important in all contexts, and that's why it has come into the picture.
Okay, all right. I think maybe we can, take that and run with it. What are also the best ways, according to you, to then pay attention to creating this culture of belonging now that it's a separate priority that needs to be taken into account?
Okay, so sense of belongingness is crucial. Okay, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Why it's important. You will feel satisfied at the workplace. You will feel engaged. You will feel happy. Your mental and physical well-being gets the priority. And of course, when you feel you're part of the whole ecosystem and organization, you belong to that place, then your longevity will definitely go up. So as an organization, it really makes sense to have belongingness as one of the crucial parameters and one of the key focus areas from an organization point of view. So you asked me a very interesting question, how do you really make sure that you create a belonging culture, right? That's what you are actually hinting at, right? So, I think the first and foremost thing when you embark on a journey of diversity, equity, inclusion, you have to have this as a priority. It has to be a strategic priority for you. I would take a little bit step forward. Just don't make sure that it just can't be a top priority from an organization point of view. It's for your survival. Just take step back for a moment. If you look at it, when you are hiring now, on every organization across, is be it a small size, big size, in spite of the focus areas and the verticals, everyone's struggling to hire the best talent, retention of this talent. And what is happening is everyone is going through the same phase of attraction and retention. What you are trying to do by being not open and wide enough to attract all sorts of people to the workplace, you are restricting yourself and you are missing on the right talent from an organization point of view. So it's just not a strategic priority. I think it's the priority for any organization to embark on a journey. So I think what that's the first thing. Secondly, your approach and our attitude towards the entire ecosystem has to change.
Right. Okay.
As an organization. Third, bring processes and system into the workplace, which gives comfort and confidence to a person that I am part of this system. Then make a lot of communications. Communication is a key for this whole initiative. Be open, be clear, be open, be clear with what you are trying to do as an organization and why are you doing it, and make sure that all voices be heard and then addressed effectively, and create a proper ecosystem to make sure that your initiatives being success.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good and, foundational way to go about it. And in fact, that's something I also was really interested in, because while DEIB has been around as a buzzword for a couple of years now, as I recently found out, the thing that has really been a major focus for organizations is DEI, right? Now, all of a sudden, if people are supposed to basically just shift their focus and pay attention to DEIB, do you think it could be intimidating? You're going to have to now disrupt or completely restructure some of these DEI policies. Is that an actual concern, or can it just flow and sort of become more encompassing rather than have to be broken down and restarted?
A very interesting question. I think when the human being anywhere, right? All HR practices and policies are evolving. Right. And you can't be static with your approach. When you, as an organization, you embark on DEI, okay, and then B has come into picture, you need to disrupt the systems and processes, okay. You need to add on to what you have right now, and add on the processes and practices and culture and a system to make sure that B being a part and parcel of your ecosystem. Okay. Because unless and until individuals or employee feel they are part and parcel, they belong to your organization, and you have systems and processes which encompass and add on to DEI, you will not have B in place. Okay. Right. So okay. It's very, very important that you look at how your DEI is set and how you can top up the B along with creating those processes, practices, and systems where people feel they belong to your workplace. Okay. Right. You attract, you create, you include, but you don't belong. Your whole DEI will fail if you don't have D.
That's a valid point to take into consideration, and also comforting to some extent, because you don't have to break everything down and start from scratch, right? You're sort of just taking this idea further and making it a bit more comprehensive and inclusive. So that's good. I think I also want to sort of talk about, the real action items, right, that HR teams can take up in 2023. What are some of the most basic best practices that you would recommend to facilitate belonging in the next year?
Of course, I think, you rightly said, and, that you already have a strong foundation laid out, right, from a DEI perspective. So you need to build a next level on the foundation. So, from a strategic perspective, I think you need to go out in the market and talk to people about, how as an organization you create belongingness among your staff. Okay, create those practices and policies in a very structured way. One.
Right.
Two, make sure that this is on top of your agenda. I'm repeating it again, but I think don't lose that traction and focus. That belongingness makes sense. When people feel I belong to this place, they will thrive. Okay, and to do that, you must do couple of key action item. One action item, always look at what people want. Typically most of us do surveys and touch points, but make sure that you act on those touch points. Let's look at and ask very specifically about belongingness in the organization. What do you expect? Are we there? Are we not there? What can be done to make sure that we create that sort of a atmosphere within the organization where you receive and give affection and love, and you feel you're part of an organization. So create those touch points and understand what people expect from you as an organization. And that don't wait it for quarterly, yearly survey. I think this has to be the pulse of an organization, which can be done at a regular interval. That's one. Secondly, on all your systems and processes, and I'll take a little bit a step back, even though your performance appraisal system, your recruitment processes, your communication processes, okay, all these things should revolve around complete initiative around DEIB. Okay, how you bring belongingness in the system is very, very important. So focus on a comprehensive strategy. Choose what makes sense for you, because it differs from organization to organization. Okay, it differs in manufacturing versus the services industry, but make sure that you create those systems, culture, processes, touch points, and visual, where people feel safe, secure, and feel connected with each other very, very well, and create that trust and relationship amongst employee, where they know. I'll give a very classic example. When you get into a school or a college, right? I'm just taking a step later. When you feel that you belong to this place, you always stay back there, because they create that ecosystem so well that you won't never ever think of moving out, right? You're there forever. So I think as an organization, we have a responsibility to create that safety net and that connectedness within the organization.
Right. And, while I was doing my research, I came across an interesting list of steps, right? As mentioned by a Great Place to Work write-up. They were talking about how one can actually go about implementing DEIB within the workplace. And there were 4 things that, they listed as being really important. The first would be speaking. So being clear about one's intentions. The second, listening, understanding one's current experience or environment. The third being learning. So using, whatever you have already heard to actually build a plan that addresses the key gaps and needs within the organization. And the last one was changing. So implementing that plan by creating, an environment that is conducive for meaningful change. So do you think these are some accurate steps, or anything missing here within this framework?
Absolutely. The GPTW framework is one of the gold standards from an organization certification point of view. I think whatever they said about speaking, listening, learning and changing is the most important. I would just add here that when you look at, because as I said, it's a very relative concept from an organization to organization, people to people point of view. Just make sure that you look at your organization culture, set the standards for yourself really well, set the metrics, what exactly you're trying to actually measure around it, because if you are at the beginning of implementing the processes, the metrics would differ compared to a matured systems, and you want to enhance on the foundation. So just look at your state where you stand today as an organization, and then put the framework in place and put the metrics and tracking initiatives in place.
You make it sound quite easy, Rahul. I'm sure that it is a little bit more complicated, but I think, the simplicity of what's at hand is an important thing to acknowledge as well. And if anyone still needs to be convinced, to pay attention to DEIB, what are some of the advantages you could list out to convince them? I think whenever someone knows the benefits of doing something, they're more likely to do it.
Oh, yeah. I so it's not there's no choice here.
Okay.
If you want to thrive at this uncertain we've been using this word VUCA word, but if as an organization, if you really want to reach out to the talent pool and you've been choosy about it and don't embark on DEIB, then you're limiting yourself from a talent point of view. Secondly, as an organization, if you don't embark on this journey, you're also limiting yourself with the your business growth. And I would definitely tell you that organization realizes that when you have people from all walks of life, being diverse, inclusive, create equity at workplace and create a belongingness at workplace, you will get different perspective. When you get different perspective at the workplace, your organization will also get an opportunity to expand the business, right? And so it is just not a choice. I'm again reiterating it. It is a need from a business point of view, and it's a top priority from a business sustainability point of view. So I think there's no way. Some people are not convinced. People are convinced, and they see the advantages. Only thing what is missing is creating that ecosystem and making sure that you put this as a top of your agenda. I think that's where the gaps are. But I'm sure everyone is convinced that this is a way forward. This is a need of the hour, and we need to move on with it.
Okay, all right. So, in the context of moving on with it, right, and just getting things done, it's also important to acknowledge some of the difficulties or challenges, right, that one may face in the process. It was really interesting. I read a Forbes piece on, the concept of DEIB, and it cited an HR Research Institute report, which revealed that organizations are actually finding it difficult to develop DEIB programs with, and I quote, only 22% indicating that they are in expert or advanced stages. And companies are also missing the mark with benefits, with only, and I quote again, 18% of companies offering only those benefits that are actually mandated by law. So very clear-cut reasons for why that's happening. What do you foresee as some of the biggest challenges? Because clearly the statistics at least say that, things are a little harder on the ground than on paper.
Absolutely. I think, the more organized the industry, they have matured processes now. And I think where the challenges are is mostly in unorganized or what things are not happening at ground level at certain industries because of the changing atmosphere from a compliance point of view. Okay. Right. So as an organization, if the industry body should come together and they should talk to all the stakeholders and make sure that make the DEIB as a part and parcel of the system. That's one. Secondly, at larger forum, we need to talk about it, why it is important. And make sure that all the stakeholders come together and make sure that all organizations embark on a DEIB journey in a very structured way. And third, I think government should also incentivize, because in certain areas where the small scale, mid-sized companies, see, they are under tremendous pressure from a cost point of view, from process point of view, and so some help can be given to these industries to make sure that they come up to certain level and take up this as a key initiative. So this certain things, if the entire ecosystem drive towards it, I think this number will definitely go up.
Okay, all right. That's good. I think that's a good and optimistic note for us to end things on. It can be a little difficult. There might be some challenges, but there's challenges with everything, right? It doesn't mean that it should deter you from the path that we're on. And for the world of HR, I think in 2023, this is going to be a really important note of progress to take into account. So thank you very much, Rahul, for helping us unpack all of this and really understand, the differences between diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging or belongingness, and how all of them can sort of work together to form a really strong culture within a workplace. It's been really fantastic understanding all of this with you today.
Thank you very much. Great talking to you.
Everyone, make sure to, also listen to our previous podcasts where we have discussed things like learning and development trends in the coming year. I think 2023 is going to be very, very transformational for the world of HR. So make sure you take all of the good stuff that Great FM is giving you and run with it in the new year. For now, this is me, Ahalya, signing off. We'll catch you very, very soon with more interesting podcasts. Stay safe, stay happy.
This is Great FM.